So I have a confession.
Yeah.
I still haven't released the video of the episode. I just released the audio today from last episode.
Oh, okay.
For some reason, I could not. I usually take this audio and replace the audio of the camera because it's cleaner. And usually I sync all of my files together. And it would just bottoming out at some point. It just wouldn't move. And I'm like, usually I just set it and forget it, go do something else, come back a couple hours later, it's not moved. So I had to change my process. I lost all this time. So I have it, I have the audio, but I wanted to fill in more video. So if people are wondering why it's just the static YouTube with the cover picture and none of the things we talked about, it's coming.
All right, it's coming. Great.
Yeah. So
We'll see how it works this time.
they're going to hear that and go, "What are you talking about, man? It was
Everything's cool.
everything's fine." Yeah, I know. But that was what was going on last night. I actually fell asleep waiting for some stuff to get done. I'm like, I gotta go to bed. I can't just be staring at this computer waiting for this to happen. So when I woke up, everything was fine, and I released the Montreal episode
Cool.
on audio.
Excellent.
So
Great. Oh, I did some traveling.
you did
I went to Flagstaff yesterday,
right on.
and I spent the day yesterday. No, Tuesday.
Tuesday.
And I spent the day visiting breweries and craft beer bars and handing out posters and talking to people, and people are super excited about Real Wild Woody.
I see. I heard that the meeting, our quarterly meeting, was going to be Wanderlust.
Yes,
So that's a first, right? I think.
it is. We've done
It's a perfect
historic, we've done Lumberyard, we've done Grand Canyon. I remember doing a technical committee meeting at Mother once.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think we've ever done it at Dark Sky.
Yeah, we did. We did a quarterly at their production facility.
Was that a quarterly or just a get together?
think
I
it
don't
was-
know, man.
It was before Real Wild Woody, so
Yeah.
I don't know. We didn't
Great.
have an election.
Well, here we are hitting what appears to be potentially the last target that we haven't used up there yet.
Yeah.
And
Well,
we can move on to our good friends.
interestingly enough,
Hmm.
someone asked me the question is, does Flagstaff have the appetite for another brewery? And I basically said, no, but there's an opportunity probably, depending on what you want to do. I think just like I believe there could have been, can be still some consolidation with many breweries in Tucson, I think there's an opportunity to have the right people. I'm not saying that the situation is right to sort of work together and further both their goals.
Like I would, in my head, my head goes right to Wanderlust having alternating proprietorship with another brewing company.
That could be.
Seems like a natural fit. They have lots of space.
That could be.
They have room in there for some more fermenters.
And I think maybe it would be, looking from the outside, it would be interesting. I know that Beaver Street has tried to position that as sort of a experimental brew pub. They do some of their collaborations there. That might be an opportunity, not an ownership opportunity, but a showcase for downtown. So, depending on how that works out, I could see that for sure. Flag Brew has been, out there as somebody who might want to get out for years. Sorry, Jeff, I don't think that's a big secret. So yeah, there are some things, but another from scratch somewhere downtown or even in the outskirts, I don't know, man. I don't know. That'd be rough.
Hey, Flagstaff's population isn't that big.
No.
However, their culture definitely fits with craft beer.
Right. They are becoming a more full season tourist destination, although there are definitely dry points.
Highs and lows, yeah.
But there is, that is a food and beverage. You show up and you eat all your meals and all your entertainment out.
Right.
So Yeah.
But wouldn't anyone that wanted to build a neighborhood brewery and really embrace that neighborhood, as long as there's enough people there, any neighborhood could have a brewery.
Dark Sky has technically 2 breweries, and they could find a role for the production brewery to crank out some product. Again, I don't know that they're going to want to put it in their own brewery. Maybe they will, maybe they won't. Depends on who they partner with. So I don't know. It just was thought experiment on a very popular but smaller city. Probably you could say a lot about that with Prescott. Prescott has always had the new brewery come in and either close or they've never sort of gotten above whatever number they're at. There's like a water line of, all right, this is where
This is how much
unless someone,
craft beer is going to get sold.
right. And the only ones to really shake it up
When you say shake things up,
in Prescott.
oh, Lazy G,
Lazy G. I kept thinking Lonesome.
they moved the needle for sure.
But it was because they really, primarily, if you are living in that town, they're primarily a restaurant for most people
Sure.
that happens to have really good beer. I mean, I don't think anyone goes in there and goes, oh, I had no idea they had beer, especially locals. But it is primarily the place to be first.
Jim's a great guy to hang out with. What are you talking about?
I didn't disagree with that. It wasn't
Yeah.
disagreement at all. So there have been a couple places that started. Remember,
There's Copper something.
yeah, there was,
Well, there's Granite Mountain,
yeah,
Ad Astra,
Black Hole.
Black Hole. I have one of their growlers I use on the regs.
Yeah, there was somebody who had a location and it just never got off the ground, never got licensed. He's still in the industry, so I don't want to throw that name around. But yeah, I mean,
Well, speaking of Prescott breweries and licenses, John Allen just got his TTB permit for the new Mile High Brewing Company. I
right.
can't believe that name's not taken.
I think
Good job, everybody, on IP research. I don't know. I have no idea.
yeah, you'd think that'd be a Denver thing first. I understand that Prescott is also it's also the Christmas city, so I don't want to call it Christmas City.
Christmas City Brewing Company, why not?
Yeah, I think the other John Nielsen owns that Christmas City brand. I don't know if they're keeping up on their IP after they've closed. It's a thing. You can still own those names. So, anyway,
For some time.
we are clearly in. If you're on the video, we're clearly in the Czech Republic
Yes, that's right.
because of all the Czech language.
We took
posters
a quick jaunt over to the Czech
Yeah,
Republic
no,
to
we're-
just hang out.
We're in Renthouse Sud Hall. On the way here, I was trying to just use my navigation. Hey Google, navigate to. Go. I just closed my 2 cameras. Cancel.
It's never gonna go away.
Did it actually stop the camera? That's what I don't know.
I don't know.
It did.
Oh, what a jerk. We're back. Sorry, Rob. I guess you can't say that word anymore.
No, well.
You're trying to use
It was
your-
very vexing. I was using the
Voice
Android
talk.
Auto voice, tell me where to go, and I said Rent House Sud Hall, and it was Rent House U Hall, Sudan Hall,
Suit Hall.
Suit Hall, yeah. I don't know.
All of these thousands of miles away.
Yeah, the actual Sudan Hall was in Sudan. It was 8,000 miles away.
That's quite a drive.
Yeah, yeah. So anyway, I'm drinking the Rep West Coast IPA. Look at that.
And that is taking a stand for public land. I got a good picture for you to insert.
Oh, good, good.
Taking a stand for public land. So they are working with the Arizona Wildlife Federation and Backcountry Hunters and Anglers.
Yeah,
group.
I noticed Historic is doing something with a federal agency as well. And I know they've done that in the past.
They're doing it with the National Forest Conservation, not the National Forests.
Well,
They've done a lot with Arizona parks.
they have.
They've done a couple of collabs with them, that's BLM land, because I had a meeting with, and the BLM lady happened to be sitting next to me, and she was like, "Oh, Historic's one of our best favorite guys."
Right on.
So that's a tie-in.
What What's the name of the beer? Do you have any recollection?
No.
Type of beer?
Yes.
When I get up there,
I absolutely do. It is.
I'll check it out.
They actually have an event coming up, which will be on June 12th. National Forest Foundation. They're going to be doing some Arizona Forest trivia, doing some beer trivia at Historic Barrel House in Flagstaff, 6 o'clock on June 12th.
Nice.
And the name of the beer is Feller Buncher. Feller Buncher. I had some last night. It is delightful.
Is that the...
There's no picture, unfortunately.
I had that too. I think they've had that for a while. It's a barrel-aged lager?
It was available May 16th. No, it's IPA.
What are you having? What are you drinking?
I am drinking the Pubber Dark English Mild.
Oh, nice.
3% beer. I am so excited that they make this. Now I don't have to make it at home. I did brew on Sunday.
Did you?
I brewed a Rosemary IPA. I was actually told to. Oh, you're brewing today? You're doing rosemary, right? I said, well, I have to go get some rosemary. She said, cool.
Did you just pick it out in the front yard?
No, I keep killing rosemary. That's a whole different story. It's part of this story. So then
How do you kill rosemary? That's like one of the hardest things to kill. Like that and bougainvilleas. Like they just never die.
I'm right here.
Mr. Green Thumb. Hey, I know you take a lot of pride in your growing ability.
Well, the rosemary is my nemesis. So anyways, what I did is when I said I'm going to get rosemary,
Right.
of course I went to Home Depot's garden section and bought 2 new rosemary plants.
Well, with all the dead rosemary you have, take the woodier parts, age the wood, let it dry out, and then do a smoked rosemary
There you
rosemary
go.
IPA.
Or and then I can just put them right in the fermenter and be like, oh, it's rosemary
Right.
wood aged.
Yeah, man. Go the whole thing.
All the
Rosemary.
way.
Rosemary. Make barrels out of rosemary. Soak rosemary.
Tiny,
Smoke rosemary.
Tiny little rosemaries. So
Serve
yeah,
it with a sprig of rosemary.
Bonnie literally said, you went to Home Depot to get rosemary? I said, yeah. And she goes, you just want to kill more rosemary?
Nice.
I said, well, I never. And she said, you know I'm right. Whatever, man.
Yeah.
I've been trying to learn a lot, and essentially the idea is just leave it alone. Don't
Yeah.
feed it, don't water it, just leave it alone.
Pretty much.
Well, I'm not good at that.
So you're saying that all the places I owned where I had out of control, super woody rosemary, I should have just loved it to death like Andrew Bauman would have, and it would just smothered and died?
No, yes, you should have just watered it, and it would have been like dead in 2 weeks. It's fine, don't worry about it. I'm also trying to take cuttings and root some from cuttings of another one,
Right.
which has never worked before, but I have one that I'm working on that looks very positive right now. Got little tiny roots coming out. That was just Sunday.
Hey, to switch topics.
Wait,
here.
no, I'm not done.
Oh.
The second beer that I brewed is Ginger Saison.
Ginger Saison.
Yeah. Tracks, right?
Does, totally. Totally. You have his and hers beers.
Yeah.
Well, no, they're mostly hers, right?
She likes Saisons. She's not a big ginger fan, but she'll be okay with this beer, yeah.
You're not going to kill my segue again, are you?
Go for it.
Just to change subjects here.
What's that now, Rob?
You have some news items, and
Oh.
I mean, one of the sort of untruths about the beer industry is like the summer is slow. It used to be slow, but we just talked about some movement in the industry, some questions, but we have some other news, right?
Yes. Debating which one to start and which one to finish with. But anyways, let's start with PFAS.
Okay, those
So-
are the forever plastics.
Forever plastics, and a big study came out that there are forever plastics in beer, which is obviously a concern.
Sure.
So, and it's like all of my news feed has PFAS and craft beer, PFAS and craft beer. I'm just like, oh my God. So I read one.
Right. And
It's less than you will find in your tap water.
okay.
But we just like talking about things that are
since
bad in
water
beer.
goes into beer, then it should follow that. Yeah. I mean,
Yes.
So okay.
Less than what's in your tap water.
So let
but
me
it's
ask
there.
you this: was that sourced by some of the people who are now associating themselves with the new administration, RFK Jr.?
I would say that a study like that would take longer than he's had to put out.
Oh, but you don't understand.
It doesn't have to be peer
It
reviewed.
doesn't have to be a
eat shit out
study.
there. Yes.
Like, you're familiar with the document they put out with fake studies in it, right?
Yes.
That didn't exist.
Yes.
And they said it was just a formatting error. Yeah.
Although
Well,
I've seen it in so many places, I can't even tell you. At least 10 articles in the last week. This one is from Grand Rapids, Michigan, WOOD. That's the name of their TV station, which I appreciate. One of the worst offenders of the 23 beers they analyzed was from West Michigan.
Huh. WOOD. Wasn't that the radio station in one of those David Lynch movies? The sound of the falling tree. It's 1 o'clock.
It should
No?
be if it
Yeah.
wasn't.
Um,
Kalamazoo County Beer had
There
4
were-
parts per trillion.
the reason I bring that up is because, do you remember the Food Babe?
Yes.
This is like a decade ago. Food blogger.
And
who
now she has a position in the current administration.
does. She was saying she's one of those, if you can't pronounce it, you shouldn't eat it. But then people like, what about riboflavin? And it's like, that's vitamin B kind of thing.
There are chemicals
And,
everywhere. Yes, everything
was
is a
citing,
chemical.
Was citing, that there are fish bladders in beer, but that's like,
It's centuries old.
right. It was, yeah, Guinness in particular, but like that hasn't been a thing in my lifetime.
No.
So, but her name is Vani Hari, and I saw some of our peers citing her works on other foods. And like, you understand that she built a career on just throwing out
Trash
a little bit
anything.
throwing out a little bit of truth and combining it and not really analyzing it. And yeah, so when you empower those kinds of people, like, it's always going to come back on the beer industry. We are still considered a sin industry. We are still considered a bad thing, and the word moderation doesn't mean anything to anybody. It's just easy to put the alcohol industry under the bus, right?
Sure.
And like, it's been around. Alcohol has been around for 10,000 years. 10,000.
We've made it this far.
Yeah, we may not survive these tariffs. Hey, congratulations! We doubled the aluminum tariffs in the last day.
Yes. I think, was that yesterday or today that those
June 4th.
doubles went into effect?
Yeah.
I mean, if you ask any brewer what are the immediate impacts of that to you, they will say, I don't know yet.
Right. Well, it's a tax. It's a regressive tax. It's taxing the most vulnerable of our industry, the smallest producers, and it accrues over a long period of time. It's like a leech, One leech won't kill you. 2 leeches won't kill you.
But just keep adding one a day and it's going to get pretty rough.
Yeah, I mean, it's something that might take a year, might take months, and you're just like, why am I not making ends meet any longer? And it's already, for most of our breweries, putting things in cans and packages as a service to the consumer, to you, to provide for you. It's a money loss. It's a straight up loser.
It's just extra costs, period, that go right back to,
right.
where do tariffs go?
It's
Who
taking
pays them?
anyone who buys things pays them.
Oh my God.
Consumers. So, and you're taking the most vulnerable, you're putting it in the most vulnerable place. It can languish on a shelf, on a warm shelf, forever. The brewer's intent isn't to have beers go beyond their shelf life.
Well, and also, they already paid for that can. So they paid for that can, they haven't gotten the money back.
Right.
Ish.
Right. So, yeah, that's
A bummer.
yeah. And once it goes away, if it goes away, like,
They don't go away. What are you talking about?
they haven't gone away. We're in our
been-
12th year or something like
Yeah.
that of having a tariff on this. And what's interesting is all the lawsuits that are preventing tariffs, these are exempt from that because apparently, Andrew, we are in a state of war right now.
This is
This is
national security.
National security, we're in a state of war. This is supposed to prevent fentanyl from getting to people. That's literally the justification we're being given. Is that we're punishing companies who allow fentanyl to be consumed by people here who,
Countries.
who want it.
We're punishing countries,
Yeah.
companies. Yeah.
Yeah, countries. Well, I mean, is Mattel a country or a company? Guy at the top doesn't know the difference. So, yeah, that's going on.
That's
And-
another news thing.
Yeah.
I have more.
Good.
Let's see.
Do you want to take a break?
Maybe we should just for that news article.
Oh, I don't know about that.
But
so
let's
yeah,
wait.
Let's
Let's
I need
wait.
to-
I have the Beer Drinker's Guide to Yosemite on
Okay.
Outside Magazine.
Okay.
We have Bleeding Cool News shared that Coors releases new Coors Banquet can design.
Oh, okay.
It's exciting. Outside Magazine again with how to choose the best beer for practically any hike. And apparently it's athletic. I guess.
It's water.
It's
The
water.
best beverage to drink when you're hiking is water.
Right. I have a couple more here, but yeah, let's go ahead and take
I just
that
need
little
another
break.
beer, you know?
Yeah, after that talk about tariffs, I feel you. Get something stronger. Ask for a couple Underberg shots. Okay, break.
Arizona is a wildly beautiful place. Brimming with over 100 brewing companies. I'm Rob Fulmer, the Director of Government and Community Affairs for the Arizona Craft Brewers Guild. I'm joined by Executive Director Andrew Baum. Together we cover the state, bringing you the best of what's happening at our breweries and beyond. Welcome to Arizona Beer Frontier. Look at you. You have the same thing?
No, I have the boy howdy.
Cheers.
Cheers. Oh, still looking styling with my glasses.
Andrew Bauman.
Rob Fulmer, nice to see you.
Oh, no, it's
Hey, Rob.
I know, we didn't do it last time. We're out of practice. We're back. So, a big news thing came out. Probably doesn't have any implications here in Arizona immediately, but RNDC, Republic National Distribution Company, is closing their California operation. RNDC is, I think, the second largest distributor in the country.
Reyes and then RNDC?
I think.
Isn't Southern up there somewhere?
Well, Southern will be up there pretty soon because RNDC is losing the largest market in the United States. Not beer, not wine, not spirits, the whole shebang.
They're just walking all the way out. Treasury's taking over is what I heard.
I don't know anything beyond that they're leaving, and you know, why does that? It makes me feel terrible. Like, and why? Because there's thousands of employees, thousands of people who are in our industry. That's their livelihood. Some will come out better than they left, but most, I think, it's going to be a lot of chaos and perhaps a lot of people exiting the industry at a time. Then we need to sort of unite the tribes, and this is not conducive to that. I think from the outside, a lot of people are like, oh, a big company's going down, that means a lot of smaller companies will be able to pick up the pieces, and that's really not the case. I don't know of any startups that are going to be able to handle brands across the entirety of California. So it's not like you can just go, oh, well, we'll just handle them in San Diego, which is a giant market.
San Diego, Sacramento.
Right. No, it's not. That's not how. If I'm supplying beer and I have a saturation of on the beer side, if I have a saturation of accounts across California and it's supported by them selling Sazerac, which they've lost, and all these other brands that puts me in restaurants, places I don't have the time, or the beer distributors don't have the time to run down. I mean, they're just funneling wine and liquor that just sits for a while, and they need an occasional beer. That is the long tail of their business. Right?
Well, I don't know. I have had experience working with RNDC distributing beer, and
Right.
I would say that whoever runs each state is going to have a bit of a different philosophy on selling beer.
Yeah.
RNDC recently jettisoned their beer business here in Arizona
Right.
because it just wasn't a priority that they were finding profit in, is my likely guess.
Right.
And if you are a producer and you're in California and RNDC says, hey, we're no longer going to be here, and if you did have several smaller distributors pop up, now you have all these different distributors to work with.
Yeah.
And you've got to establish a relationship, get your contracts together. If you didn't get sold to a blue or red distributor, because
Right.
I don't know what franchise laws are like in California.
Sure.
I did have a discussion yesterday with a gentleman who maybe was a neighbor of yours, Tyson. I don't know.
Go on.
Anyways, he was a lobbyist and during pandemic decided to get trained in how to be a plumber
Okay.
and called me to reach out and say, I know breweries use water. Is there a lot of plumbing action going on? So it took a little bit of talking and super nice dude. Looking forward to meeting him. One of his questions was about distributors and explaining franchise law to him. He, just like many people that we talked to about
exploded.
it, they're like, what? What are you talking about? Yes, if you sign a contract with a wholesaler in Arizona, that is your wholesaler until they decide you can leave.
Yeah.
You have no way of getting out other than for cause, which can be relatively impossible to prove.
And it's beyond that. There doesn't even have to be a written contract.
No.
It could be, it's as simple as we picked up your beer and we moved it to our warehouse and then we delivered it to a customer.
You are now
You
our
are-
brand forever.
Right, and they're gonna point to their contract, which favors them, and they say, well, when you agreed to do this, this is what you agreed to, and so you have no opportunity to renegotiate that. It doesn't happen anymore that happens, but it used to happen that way. A lot of our breweries in the 90s, that's how they got into these relationships before they made 300 barrels of beer, because this was kind of the new frontier, and you know, the rule of thumb used to be like, oh, you got to make about 2,000 or 3,000 barrels of beer before you should even consider.
Or before a wholesaler would even think about bringing you
Not
on.
in this state.
No.
They sold. They signed.
Many.
Yeah, I won't name names.
Yes, I know the one you're
200
talking
barrels,
about.
500 barrels. Yeah, so it's big news, and
The other question is, in Arizona specifically, if your distributor if you and your distributor decide it's time to part ways and they agree, where do you go?
yeah, there's not a lot of choice.
There's not a lot of choice.
It's
And-
especially if you are used to being in any of the chain grocery stores, any of the large chain grocery stores, specifically Fry's, specifically, well, I mean Walgreens,
Bashas',
Walmart.
Safeway, if you want to be in convenience,
Yeah, yeah.
you don't have a lot of choices.
So yeah, that
In
is,
every market, you have two choices.
so I mean, what we're finding is we may see some of our larger breweries say, you know what, I used to have a tap room, not my deal anymore. I got to focus on this. Or if they do have tap rooms, they're like, we're just not going to distribute through our traditional networks anymore. And you know, the last time that happened was Prescott Brewing Company. Well, no, take that back. I don't know where Uncle Bear's is in this right now. They were with RNDC. They got to go to Crescent, but they're contracting, so I don't have a perception of how that's working out. Do you?
No.
Okay, so yeah, I mean, but I also don't recall seeing any of their packaged goods anywhere. But again, I don't seek those out. I don't buy packaged beer unless it's a convenience to me as I'm going shopping, grocery shopping.
Or you're at a brewery and you pick up a 4 or 6 pack, or you're at a
Right.
bottle shop and
Right.
having a beer and go, oh, I'll grab a 6
Right.
pack to go home. Yeah.
That's not the
We're not
biggest-
we're not a typical consumer.
No, but we're probably more typical of the people who listen to the show than
Yes.
regular people whose favorite beer is
Normies.
College Street, you know.
Big Blue Van.
Yeah,
Hell yeah, they sell a lot of that stuff.
8,000 barrels. I don't know if it's that anymore, but that was the number I've heard thrown around. in
That's
the
a
last couple
lot.
years. Yeah, I mean that's a lifetime goal for a lot of our breweries. For like 95% of our breweries would love to make that much beer across all brands, let alone one brand. So very, very successful, under the radar for a lot of us, right? But back to implications here in Arizona. the whole reason that California sort of crumbled is because they were losing these major liquor contracts in various pockets throughout the country. I understand that Illinois might have this same
Departure of RNDC.
Texas. Just
Those seem like big markets.
they are big markets. California's a big market.
Chicago.
So do these things? My perception is the ground game here in Arizona is not relevant to what might happen with RNDC in Arizona. It might be packaged up with something larger based on the changes we're seeing. Could it work out in consumer favor? If you're a liquor person, probably you're still going to get your liquor, right? If you're a beer person, I don't know, man.
Scarier.
If you're a beer business owner, like nobody wants the big, what I call baseball trade. Nobody wants, you wake up one day and you've been packaged to go to another distributor
With 6 other brewery brands.
right, and it's a 2-way deal, a 3-way deal, even a 4-way deal where people who weren't in the industry are now taking your products, and you're like, "What? I'm with these guys. Like, how did I get affected?" It's because you're all packaged up as groups, or you're just given your papers, and like now, I've got product in all kinds of locations, from grocery stores to convenience stores to restaurants. I got to make it my life's work now to continue to feed that pipeline, and I don't even have time to analyze. Maybe some of those aren't the greatest things. Maybe I should cut back on some of those, right? You're just there to try to. It's like you no longer have a roof on your house, so you know.
And you have no say about it.
No.
We are moving your brand to a different distributor
Right.
and enjoy your new relationship, which is crazy. Now that guy has you for life. Well, one of the smaller distributors here, Scout, is doing some joint venture work with Hensley,
yeah.
on I'm not sure exactly what, other than line cleaning.
Yeah.
But it seems like that's a relationship that potentially could grow into a larger consolidation issue.
Right.
I don't know. I have no inside baseball stuff on that.
Well, and let's take a look at that. I mean, a lot of their longtime VPs have gone over the last several years. Cindy McCain, the owner, has been an ambassador, and I don't know like what her role in the company is other than ownership. And you know, Andy McCain is getting up there. You know, I don't know what they bought. They bought that distributor in New Mexico, and I don't think that's going all that great. I don't know.
I've heard that it has been a struggle.
Yeah. So, to me, like the analogy is pre-World War I Europe with the Ottoman Empire and a bunch of very small states. I'm not suggesting that someone's going to get assassinated. We're going to have World War I of distributors, but I'm just saying, like, consolidation is definitely going to happen. And,
Well, it has been happening for years.
Sure, but this is one of those. This could be one of those watershed moments, and I just don't know how it's going to work in our favor.
Any crisis is an opportunity. So that is a great way, though, to change that franchise law theory, because it was based on these small family-owned companies
Right.
are helping build breweries' reputation and brand, and that they deserve to have some.
You know, you're right. The time is to really educate a lot of policymakers on this, but we're also at the weakest point of our organizational health right now. So even though that might be the opportune thing, I don't know that that's in the cards.
Right.
You know, are there still some things that we can work with our distributors on without any of this controversy? Of course, but it's really up to our new board to navigate that.
Oh yeah, new board.
Yeah.
Let's use new board names.
Okay. You
Great.
know them all. I
Great.
sort of know them all.
Well, Dylan from the shop is returning. Jamie from Barrio is returning. Our new elected board members, Tyler Smith from Kitsuni. He's been on the board for the last 2 years as an appointed member and was elected to a 2-year term this time. John Lane of Oso. has been a board member in the past, but that was like 7 or 8 years ago.
Yeah,
He
and it was
is
for a
returning.
brief time. It was during the pandemic, so
It was before that, because he got elected the same time as me and Kelly.
okay.
And then Megan Greenwood of Greenwood
Right.
Brewing in Phoenix is on the board. She's on a lot of different boards for philanthropic organizations.
She's
so
pretty well connected politically too.
pretty good to have
Being
her
in
on
that
our
location downtown, she sees a lot of. She hosts a lot of policy discussions.
Yep.
She's on the board for
I've been there for
Arizona
policy discussions there,
Arizona
yeah.
Stocking. So
team. And Kyle Jefferson from Pueblo Vita Brewing Company is a new member to the board. So that's our new board.
he's a
that
new fired up member.
Yeah, he's pretty excited. He's
Yes.
giving me a call today. Hopefully not while we're recording, but we'll
Right.
see.
Yeah. No. So exciting. You know, my
And then
recommend- my
we
rec-
also have up members to be appointed at the first meeting.
right.
so
So,
that
we
is
don't
not
have
the
we don't
end.
have we don't have officers yet.
Do not have officers yet.
Okay.
July 8th.
July 8th. I guess that's yeah. I'm getting ahead of myself. I'm like, oh yeah, no. Yeah, no. That's about when it's scheduled, based on the election schedule. Well, I would say my recommendation is to really reach out to more members and get an understanding of what direction of the organization is going to be. Obviously, I have my opinion. My opinion. It's right for me. It might not be right for the organization. Like, as you know, my way or the highway or anything like that. I would say that they need to hear a lot of voices and get people involved, and just really need to examine what the organization's about. We know that together we can do a lot of things, and we also know that between Camila, myself, and you, we could get a lot of things done without a lot of direct involvement
Action.
from the members. They don't have to put themselves out there politically if they don't want to, but it can work if they all agree on something and they all, as owners, publicly talk about some of these issues. That can work too.
It can work a lot faster that way if we have
Right.
a consolidated group of people that
Sure.
a direction.
Well, cool.
You had one more big news story.
I did. I just got, well, our friend,
Couple things, yeah.
our friend Dave Infante from the Fingers newsletter often writes for VinePair, broke yesterday that Dr. J, the former DEI appointed position in 2019 and has grown to become more involved in the organization, has announced that she's leaving at the end of the month. And I have concerns about that. And I'll just focus on this one part of it. The BA has had difficulty convincing some of the smaller members, mid-sized members, that they're a relevant organization and they speak to their interests. It's a common thing. I mean, we have this issue too. There's a perception that we only cater to certain types of breweries, even though, I mean, we continuously pass legislation, iron out policy things for most of our smaller breweries. It's just that our board traditionally has been involved with people who have more time, which is usually a larger organization, owner, founder. But like in the last 8 years, honestly, it hasn't been ownership driven.
It's been majority smaller breweries.
and sales and marketing people and not as many owners. So we have, in this group, we have John Lane, owner, Kyle Jefferson, owner, Megan Greenwood, owner,
Dylan.
owner, Jamie. It's publicly owned, or
It's
they're
a-
employee owned. I mean,
it's a-
but the principal,
She is
Of
the
that.
principal of that organization.
Tyler, owner.
Owner.
So it's good.
They're all owners.
They all have the direction of the organization should serve their interests. That's good, because that's who we represent. We're a Brewers Guild that we operate the interests of the owners, who are the company. They are the representation of the company. The company has to survive. We don't represent people who are owners so that they can sell and right? It's the preservation of the company, of which the owner is probably the person who can decide right then and there what the best interest for their organization is.
Yes.
That was long-winded, sorry. But Dr. J, my concern is she spoke to a lot of those breweries. It was, well, I don't like the BA, but I like the direction Dr. J is bringing to the table. She's bringing unity. She speaks to us more than anyone else in that organization.
And on the stage at CBC.
Yes.
Oh my gosh.
Yes. Very, very similar to charisma of Julia Hers, who's no longer directly with.
The BA, but is running the.
Yeah, I don't know where that's going yet, but yeah, she's involved with the
Homebrew.
AHA, but was involved with the BA many years and was sort of like a face of the organization for a lot of people, especially the new demographic, women, people of color, the growing segment, the growing opportunity of beer consumers is in that group that she speaks to, right? My concern is the way she's leaving.
The way that Dr. J is leaving.
Yeah.
And the way that Julia has now
right.
moved to off.
Right.
Like the American Homebrew Association is no longer part of the Brewer Association.
Right.
So that's
Right.
new.
Right. So you're losing two constituencies. Well, no, you're not losing. They're at risk until we have an answer for it. That's my concern. And I'm sure they're not over there going, it's not a concern. I'm sure they're very concerned about it too. So like, we'll have to see what answer they have for that. And if they don't answer that question for me, it's not a big, but that's hundreds of breweries. And they want those members. They want to engage them. Believe me, whether you believe it or not, they want to have a strong organization. And, like it or not, the way things politically work for guilds and brewers associations is very public. Like, nobody knows if somebody dropped from the NBWA, right? Nobody is like, oh my God, like this small distributor not in the NBWA, like what a scandal. It's not how they work. They work with dollars, man. Oh, we lost this distributor. Everybody, 10 or 20 more grand, come on. We're still gonna be the same organization.
It's not quite like that with BA or the Guild. Yeah.
No, so
Yeah.
something to look out
It's quite
for.
a shame that she's leaving. Yeah.
As a general consumer, probably doesn't change your life. But, I don't know. We don't track how many members of our members are in the BA, but, we need them to be our national voice. And I'm going to go there in July and hopefully get some relief on these tariffs. So that doesn't happen without that organization.
Right. Each individual guild going and doing a hill climb would not move any needle anywhere.
No. I mean, we wouldn't even be able to schedule that.
It takes group action.
Yeah.
Or just like our brewers contributing to group action in the state makes it much better.
So we didn't mention Katie, who is the lobbyist, national lobbyist.
She was the Brewers Association's federal
right
action person.
Yeah, federal government affairs for the Brewers.
Why do we keep losing women? What's happening?
I don't know. I don't think it has to do with them being women. But we have a new person in there. I mean, just literally got his feet wet in April when we were in Indianapolis. So we'll see. What else we got on the?
Oh, I have another sad thing though.
Oh, okay. Let's get all the sads out. Oh yeah, man.
I mean, I did some research after you sent me that. But
Oh yeah. So Martin Cornell, amateur historian, but like literally the historian of note for beer
for the industry.
Inserted himself, was not compromising in any way on facts, and understandably can come off as harsh in the public sphere when it comes to arguing about things. But my understanding, one of the nicest people out there, I've never met him personally, but his work, I used to read his work all
Man,
the
I
time.
love his writing style because I went through and read a few articles.
So if you are familiar with any doubts about the origins of IPA, and I'm sure people listening,
Or porter, man, he's a porter fiend.
right, still have the facts wrong about the origins of IPA. If your IPA story is centered around a ship,
Going to India from England.
right, I hate to say it, it's wrong. It's very romantic. Our friend Jeff Allworth from the Beervana Beer Blog, him and a couple other
Mitch
writers
Steele.
like to call it romantic facts. They're useful in marketing. It's a great story, but it's not true. And other things we call those apocryphal stories might not be true, probably not true, but moves the needle, gets everyone on our side. The popularity of IPAs based on they were put on a ship, sent to England, and they were higher proof and had more hops to preserve them for the journey is bullshit. Like, no matter what you have, man, oxygen and a
Yeah,
long voyage,
shake it on a boat.
agitation, oxygenation are going to kill your product.
Heat.
Yeah. So these products were very popular anyway. The story about India only made them more popular because it was a story. It was marketing. So we have Martin to thank for initiating that discussion and backing it up with just crazy facts. Would read like ship manifests. Would take every source and run it down, and remarkably, sometimes it's a single writer who just made the shit up. He was the reason. There was the Great British Beer Flood. A giant vat of beer broke and
Flooded a town.
came running down in London, and people died, and there was all kinds of stories about like how people went to the hospital and they were mad because they thought their hospital was serving beer because there were so many people covered in beer, and he found that to be completely false. Like
No hospital was in trouble.
well, no, there was people who either dead or they survived. There wasn't any hospitalization.
Right. Drowning
per se.
is not one of those things.
But I went to the site where this occurred, and like knowing it's in downtown London, and it does not resemble anything. Like I was like went there to take a picture, and there's a double-decker bus, and it's a theater district, and like this is where the Great British Beer Flood. The people died. It was a spectacular, catastrophic accident, and no one knows except me because I read Martin Cornell's account of it. And I never credited him. I credited him since. Like I would read these things and go, I gotta go there, right? I gotta go there. And like he helped edit the beer Bible that I mentioned with Jeff Allworth. You mentioned Mitch Steele, who wrote the Hops book. Sat down in the Dove where Michael Jackson used to hang out to go over notes. Like he's at the center of all this.
But no one knows his name. It's so crazy.
He died a couple days ago. He was going to go on a tour to promote his book, Porter, which is coming out.
His new book came out yesterday.
Yeah, he was supposed to promote it in Iceland. He's been in the United States before. It would have been exciting to see, you think about what could happen. Like, it would be nice to say hello. But he used to write he would write blogs, and he would analyze European brew logs are available,
Oh yeah.
somewhere, and he would go
you
over
can
the
get them
recipe
on-
changes,
yeah.
and when people said, well, porter, we'll try to plant the seed of dismissing this. It used to be like, oh well, porters are based on the three threads. It was like a beer and ale, and then some other, and they're blended together, and that's what. Now we just try to recreate that blend. It was like, it's completely bullshit. Like one person wrote that, and because nobody as a consumer ever read it, it lasted for 100 years.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So
You're blending new beer and old beer, and then you just served it to the poor people.
right,
None of that.
right. So I'm not even gonna, I couldn't even credibly say I know the origin of porter until I read that book. Like, I know what I've told people in the past, but now I got to say, hey, you used to think this, but got to read the book now to understand what porter really is and the relationship to porter to stout. I think we all have our theories on that. We've been told things as homebrewers might not be true.
Probably not true. There's a lot of myth making that
Yeah.
happens in beer. It's true.
Yeah. And I don't know who fills his shoes. Ron Pattinson is another beer writer, equally important, a different focus. I don't know, but like, it's not like Ron Pattinson is a 28-year-old.
I mean, this is like, it's the same thing as bureaucracy. You get rid of the old bureaucrats, and then all of a sudden you have people who have no idea what the history of the organization is.
Yeah. I mean, like, if you're the head of FEMA, you don't know that it's hurricane season at certain times of the year. That's true. Anyway.
Are we ready to move on to happy fun
yes.
Arizona beer news?
Yeah, it's sad, but it's not. I'm glad that people will now tell his story more.
Yes.
So it won't be a movie or anything. It won't be a feature film.
I mean, if that's your standard, just let it die, Rob. It's fine.
Well, I mean, there's.
You know a lot of people.
Anyway, next.
Well, we have Phantom Fox.
Phantom Fox.
Has been announced to be opening a new brewery, a new tap room.
Really? The
Phantom
new
Fox.
brewery in Mesa is now having a new location. Tell me more.
Well, there's a new development that's going up at Germain and Val Vista, which would make it potentially the closest brewery to me, or brewery tap room. That is still just plain dirt, so they have to build the whole center.
Right.
A Safeway is going to be going in there. Apparently they have about 26 leases signed at this point, so
Right.
a large center.
A
And
Safeway
Phantom
going
Fox is
forward
one of them.
because the Fry's Safeway merger is not going to happen. Think about that.
Likely, yes. I'm just thinking about that area. There was an Albertsons on that corner. That left here. Oh no, that's a mile down. Yeah, there's nothing as far as grocery around there until you get over the freeway and go over to.
I'm just saying it's probably not
Santana.
likely that a Safeway would go in there
if
if
the
that
merger
merger
went through. Potentially true. I'm not in charge of their balance sheet. That is slated to be opening in mid to late 2026.
Uh-huh.
There's a lot of infrastructure that needs to get done, but they've been working on that road.
It's like
It is like a super highway road.
It's like season 3 of a very popular series, and you're like, oh man, and you got to wait till fall 2026.
Yeah. No, hang in there. And then the other brewery news that I found out yesterday for Arizona is that Oro Brewing Company is partnering with a barbecue company and taking over the space of the former Throne Brewing in downtown Phoenix.
Wow, and that used to be Ken Chevrant's Wine and Cheese.
Uh-huh. Yep.
Ken Chevrant was a former rep. The Chevrant still exists in the airport, I believe. One of those things. So you're saying that Mesa isn't big enough for all those breweries?
Mesa is exploding right now. Their breweries are fire.
Right, yeah. All right, well,
I guess. I don't know.
I can't say that it's likely that I will go to that location as much as I do the downtown Mesa one, but we'll see. And I guess that's further west. And then I was like gonna joke, like, oh, let me guess, Phantom Fox is gonna open in
Right.
Waddell,
Right.
or it's gonna
Buckeye.
open.
Man, I got a map of the valley, and you know how big Buckeye is?
It's huge,
It is unbelievably enormous.
the landmass.
Yes.
Right, the population isn't there yet.
No.
It's like it's like Marana. Marana is got a lot of land. Marana scooped up the one Walmart in that area and got a tax base. Like they incorporated around it to capture their tax money. You know, like you can't just leave open desert there. You gotta capture that, or somebody else is gonna do it. Tucson's gonna do it, or they'll.
I guess. Like Scottsdale is huge too. It just goes way up into the mountains
Right.
of nothingness.
I'm just over here in landlocked Tempe.
Yeah. I mean, not landlocked Chandler.
The
We keep
Wal-
adding like county islands.
The Walmart in our neighborhood, which is an ancient, it used to be the Mervyn's, so that tells you how old that location. They're redoing it, and they're going to put a Wiener Schnitzel in it.
Oh yeah, that's the new thing. Wiener Schnitzel going into Walmart's. It's very exciting.
Yeah, no, there's a Der Wiener Schnitzel on McClintock, and
Oh sure, there's a bunch of them around, but That's a new partnership.
That's like
This
their
is not
Wiener
beer
Schnitzel and Ted's. So there's already a hot dog district in Tempe, if you ask me.
Well, I'm going camping this weekend.
Yeah?
What are you doing?
Weenies on sticks? I don't know.
I do have sausages as Friday dinner. Yes.
Wow, what is? I just posted it. I don't know what country it was. I was going through. I'm Blue Sky, so it's more random than my other feeds. Like, I think it's like New Zealand or Australia. Or, it's not in the United States. Or you get a bucket of cocktail wieners, 195 in a bucket.
No, thank you.
here's a bucket of wieners, man.
Just not a fan.
Yeah, they're good. They look good. They look good. I don't know.
Well, with cocktail wieners, I think that we're pretty much done with today's episode, yeah?
Oh, you had some other news, all right? About beers
Oh.
in national parks and...
We already did that?
Oh, you just mentioned it.
Yeah, but I mean, how deep do you want me to get into some listicle?
Oh, I don't know. I thought there... Oh, it was a listicle?
Yeah, sure. What are the top 10 beers to drink in a national park?
All right. The one on the hike was athletic. And I'm like, well, okay. I'm going to suggest water.
They
So
had
you get to the trails end, and then you can drink whatever you want.
they had Sierra Nevada Pale Ale as their
I think,
as their cover picture for
right. Well, they
top
have
10.
NA trail beers, literally called trail beers.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think I'd want to be on a hike and have a sticky non-alcohol beer. I would rather have hot water, but then I just think water is the best thing to drink on a hike.
Yeah. I
because
mean,
it-
getting to your destination, like climbing Picacho Peak and then cracking open the Sierra Nevada, that's
fine.
very nice day.
That's fine. So yeah, like why do you deprive yourself of the reward? I mean, if you're into non-alcohol, it's fine.
I'm not going to drink NA beers as I'm hiking.
No.
Nor am I going to drink
No.
regular beer as I'm hiking.
No. I had when these beers were in vogue for people like us. I when I did my first up and back from the Grand Canyon, I did a Dale's Pale Ale. No, not 1050
Oh,
at the bottom,
wow.
and
yeah.
I did their Scotch beer. The
Yum. 1050, oh my gosh, that beer. Wow.
got to the bottom, put it down, and then what was their? It wasn't Gordon. What was their Scottish ale?
Old Chub.
Old Chub. I had an Old Chub in Indian Gardens on the way up, halfway on the way up.
Other news that I did not share that I will,
Yeah.
since you brought it up, Dale's Pale is revising their package back to Denim Dales for the summer.
Denim Dales. I saw that. In fact, David Fonte was joking about it. It's like called it a jipa, it's like jean shorts. Yeah. Someone posted like they really ought to just package it in a denim box. Oh, I can't record more video. Free up space. No, we're done.
All right,
I'll figure
Yeah.
this out.
it's time to be done.
It's an editing thing. Hey, we didn't do the Milko.
We didn't do the Milko.
Maybe we
and
just
now,
did that for social media.
okay.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Sometimes the beer finds you. And this-
And this is not a beer podcast. It's a podcast about beer. Except more of a beer podcast today, I guess.
right, today's more beer than anything else.